Yeah, all right. Now you can hear me. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. It's your boy Fury. I'm not going to try to be here too long. Like, this is a Sunday random. This has absolutely nothing to do with any other streams I do, like the Furious Hounds podcast. But I think you guys already know that. Uh, this is a Sunday random. And one of the first topics I wanted to talk about is this. Let me share the screen with you guys for a moment. This. Yes, the talks of this is happening. According to many sources, there will be a remake to Resident Evil. And you're saying, yeah, this already was one 7 or 6 years after the original release that came out for GameCube that got remastered. Yeah, that is true. We're talking about a REX engine one or RE engine version of Resident Evil 1. And from multiple sources, they're saying that every zombie is going to look different, allegedly. This is all rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. It's basically what these people are saying. And I'm not going to waste your time and regurgitate everything that they're saying. We can watch a couple of it for context, but then I'm going to go into what I want. If this is reality, I'm going to go into what I feel that they should change with the whole entire with this. So let's go to Center for Evil. First one that popped up, well, I did this 30th anniversary because it's rumored to release in 2026, which is 30 years. Wow, 30 years, 2026. Well, I will be Jesus, 48 years old. That means I was 18, going on 18 when Resident Evil first came out. Yeah, I dated myself there, but yeah, now let's see what different people will say. Fair use, fair use. Yeah, let's see what they say. So once again, take this all with a grain of salt, people. It's right now it's rumors, but when the rumors start to ramp up like this, and you got people like Biohazard the Classified or Dust Golem, if Dust Golem get into this, you know it's more than certain. Well, it it might be some different aspects that won't be as accurate as reported by Dust Golem, but the 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 project that is a reality pretty much. Yeah, this is what I want. We could. This is all we needed to see right here. Shout out once again to Center for Evil. This is Center for Evil's, and he grabbed this up and he put this up there. I just want you. You hear that? Slower paced. It will be Biohazard Resident Evil 1, which makes sense because Biohazard is actually the real name of the franchise, but they changed it to Resident Evil for America because it's more of a appealing name. And there was a game back in the day known as Biohazard in America, and there's a rock band named Biohazard as well too, who are I think pretty much out of they've been decommissioned as a band. They don't perform anymore. It will be slower paced than Resident Evil 2. See, this whole thing is great. I'm I love that for the simple fact that RE1 wasn't a action game. It was a survival horror game. It was a slower paced game. You were in a mansion, a closed area. You ain't gonna be running around shooting everything up in a mansion like that, especially when you don't know what dangers lurk. So a slower paced Resident Evil game um with the RE engine makes sense for the first game because these characters are new to the zombie experience. They should not be just going out doing barrel rolls and shooting people and shit. See, they can do that. Like Jill, you realize Jill is a former soldier. So when Resident Evil 3 came out, you saw just how capable she was. And then when the remake came out, how despite how that game wasn't how can we say accurate to the original source material, you still seen it was a action game just on par with the old one when it comes to the aspect of action, not story and content. It pales in comparison. We all know that already. Still a good game, just ain't what we wanted overall. And I say we like I'm speaking French. Just not what a lot of Resident Evil fans wanted. Okay? So, with that being said, slower pace Resident Evil 1 remake. Just remember, this is all rumor. If it's slower pace, perfect. It fits. You want to be able to really be scared again. Uh, All right. And then they said each zombie will have their own unique model due to the small number of enemies within the game. And you know what that means, which leads to the second point. The fourth point here: more bullets required to take out zombies than RE2 remake. Those were tough to kill. So imagine, so they making less zombies in the game and making them stronger. They kind of did that with RE2 remake. So I guess the more zombies, the weaker they get. The more you dilute it. I get it. They're going back in order. These are people who were confined to the Spencer Mansion because they worked for Umbrella. This was a set amount of staff members. So there will not be like, okay, a city full of people where zombies can just come at any moment. I get it. It makes sense. All right. I think this is why they going back and they doing these remakes the way they doing it. A lot of this, and it's gonna get into what I want from it later on. But like I said, the Crimson Heads are gonna return. So I guess Lisa Trevor will stay in the game. That's great. The RE1 lore will be explored further. Great. See, that's where what I want right there. The lore being explored further. A different third person game camera will be used, slower pace again. Now, that right there, when I heard that, I'm like, bro, like, what do they mean a different camera? They mean it's going to be a little bit pulled away. It's going to be a dynamic camera, third person that changes depending on the enemies you fight. Because remember, we're fighting hunters in this game. And more than likely, they bringing a beheading back because the RE engine showed that it's capable of doing a beheading. They do it a lot with Leon and RE4 remake and Ada. I've been seen people play on YouTube. I've played it and I've been beheaded a few times. That engine can do it, despite what people thought in RE2 that the engine's not capable of that. Maybe at that point they didn't understand it, but by 4 they did. So with this camera thing, this so a different third person camera. Or riddle me this. Or no, entertain yourself with this aspect. Are they giving you a fixed camera perspective again, but they don't want to outright just tell you just yet? Think about that. I'm not. Are they bringing back fixed camera angles as a option? All of these, like they said, all these rooms is no longer a pre-rendered background though. That's the thing. Everything's gonna load. If you played RE1, if you play RE2, 3, and 4, you notice when you go into certain areas, you might see them from a distance. The zombies might move a little bit with low frame rate, but the closer you get and the assets load in, the more they become more detailed and more mobile. It's the same thing that's going to be incorporated with them. But my biggest thing with this whole aspect is the lore. And now I want to get into what I want from the Resident Evil lore. If this remake is going to be a thing, um, if this remake, if is going to be a thing, I want them to fix the endings. For the love of God, when they remade Resident Evil the first time, they didn't change the endings. And a lot of people live for years because of how good Resident Evil and how even better the remake was. A lot of people lived with it and accepted headcanon for years, meaning, all right, yeah, we all know that all four of them survived. No, so what? They didn't get put in the game, and I'm like, do the same. That's the same mentality people had for me when I was trashing the X-Men franchise from Fox. I was trashing it when it was in inception and when Marvel Studios started putting movies out. People were like, oh, you just throwing that down because of the Marvel Studios out and it was Fox did the best they can. They fuck out of here. Anyway, like I'm saying, what I want from Resident Evil 1 franchise, I mean the Resident Evil 1 game, do it like this. Say for example, you select Jill. You know, like you select Jill or Chris, and then you get ambushed by the dogs, and you run into the mansion, and then Chris disappear. Um, this is a great way to expand the lore further. Give us gameplay showing what the secondary character is up to. Now, when I mean secondary character, that's like I meant. If I chose Jill to play with, Chris is going to be the secondary character. If I choose Chris, Jill's going to be the secondary character. Give us a campaign that shows us what they were up to. Which means if that's the case, they're going to have to not have the secondary character captured. They should be doing more things in the mansion. Meaning, case in point, I'm a freestyle it like this. I play as Jill. I select Jill to play with. We watch them get chased into the mansion. Chris is nowhere to be found. Great. Let me see what's going on in this conversation. And also add Rebecca and Barry and Jill and Chris and Jill's campaign. Yeah, they're gonna be there. Trust me, they're gonna be there, Reva. How you doing? Trust me, they're gonna be there, and their gameplay should be expanded more. But you get into the mansion and you're playing as Jill. You run into Chris during your foray into the mansion, and you like, oh God, Chris, you're alive. I didn't know what happened to you. You know, we went to look for you. Then Wesker disappeared. I didn't know what to think. And then he was like, I found, I survived. I found some things or some things of that nature, and I'm trying to find a way out too. She was like, so are we. We should stay split, keep in contact, look up. It sounds a lot like Resident Evil 2, but it would make sense. But as you play as Chris, as the secondary character, you don't play with him right away. You play with him doing it. Bring back the zapping system. Bring back the zapping system. So that means Jill A, Chris B, or Chris A and Jill B. Bring that whole format back. They tried to do it with the 2 remake, but they added it in at the last moment, and it didn't make much of a difference to the storyline. It really didn't make much difference to the storyline. They just basically put it there just for namesake. They got the opportunity to really expand the gameplay, give you a perspective of what the character was doing. Because I just don't believe that both of them were just one of them was just locked up in Wesker's prison down below the mansion for the whole gameplay throughout the whole campaign. So this is where expanding the gameplay comes into. For the first time ever, if you're using Chris as the primary character, we need to see Barry and Barry's. I mean, you had this. We need to see Barry and Chris's campaign, and he should be the one that helps Jill break Chris out when Chris eventually does get captured later into the campaign of the game. So let's say I'm playing as Jill, and you like, I can't find Chris. I reunited with Chris, and I can't find him. He's alive. I don't know what happened to him. Something's not right. I haven't heard from him. Barry, can you find him? And Barry just goes off like, you know what, I got you, Jill. I'll go look for him. But you continue playing as Jill, but in the B mission game, you play as Barry searching for Chris to lock him to get him out of there, and vice versa. If you're playing as Chris, Rebecca can also be called upon as a favor to find Jill if Jill is the secondary character. So you get what I'm saying. The Zapper system should be put back into play. The Zapper system should be put for the first time, and the RE engine be put back into play the way it was incorporated in Resident Evil 2, but even better now that technology allows it to be better. And let's see, Reva, you said I'd like to see some of Chris and Jill's bond. Yes, explore the lore further because they always talk about that, but we never see it. Exactly. So maybe we get some prequel stuff, meaning like not zero, but like some like some, let's say they start the game off with Chris, the Stars team at the RPD, watching the reports that we see. You know, grisly murders are been reported in the Arklay Mountains, where families have been reported to be eaten. And they watch that in the background and stuff, or they out somewhere eating or something, and they're dining, and that's playing in the background. Then it shifts away, and you see them. Yeah, Fear Remake did that. More than likely, I think Capcom got a cease and desist on that whole order. When they do cease and desist, that means they got plans for something. They did that with RE2 when the people was making the R2 remake. They put a cease and desist on them, but they took them into the development and was like, hey, you guys want to be consultants? We like your ideas. So, excuse me, I'm not feeling too great. So I'm gonna occasionally feel and sound a little under the weather, because I am. So that would make a lot of sense. Like it shifts. It starts off you seeing that, and then you see them chilling, like socially chilling, and then all of a sudden they get a call, and they get called in to work by Wesker, and Wesker briefs them on it, and then they fly out there to the helicopter. They fly out on the helicopter or so out there to pick up to look for was it Alpha Team or was it Bravo? I forget like which one is what, but you get what I'm talking about, right? Yep, that's all happened. So they go out there and they actually all of that builds up. You get to see them hanging out a little bit, get to see the bond, them talking about stuff. Chris mentioned like, um it's crazy, how hard we, with all this murder going on in the background, I haven't had time to see my sister. And Jill's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. At least you have a family that's nearby. Something they could be having casual conversation like that and stuff and that nature, and you get to see more the dynamic between the characters of like Forrest. So like wait a minute, no, the Forrest was already at the mansion getting killed. Okay, I'm talking about like Joseph Frost who got eaten by the dogs. All these couple things, you get to see a lot more of this stuff happen, right? But the Zapper system, I definitely want that for sure. I definitely want the Zapper system to be brought back. And if you're playing as Jill, um, ask Jill should incorporate Barry to find Chris later on in the game. So when you meet up with thank you. I mean, this is stuff I just wanted for years. I should have wrote this down. It would have been able to come out a little bit better. But this is me just coming off the top of my head and just thinking about a lot of the stuff. Like I already know what I want, but just I'm trying to speak a pathology into play. So that's what I definitely want. Zap your system. You play in as Jill. You find out that in this version, Chris did make it into the mansion and was Wesker disappeared because Wesker is doing what Wesker does. So they're gonna have to revamp that because a lot of people are saying when you played as Chris, you made it into the mansion with Barry and let me see when you it's been a long time. When you played as Chris, you made it into the mansion with let's find out. We on the internet. Let's find out. Let's go. It's been a while. So let's fast forward. That's Silent Hills. And they playing the Walking Dead music. Yeah, it's Jill and Wesker. All right, thank you. You just saved me the time. Jill and Wesker. Okay, you making it with Jill and Wesker. Perfect. You make it in there with Jill and Wesker. And we all know originally when you come back, um, fucking Jill and Wesker disappeared. That means that more than likely Jill was captured early into the game, which I'm not buying. They have to fix that. They will have to fix that. If they're going to do the Zappa system, I'm going to basically say that they should change that. They definitely should change that. Like how the whole dynamic work. And they got the means to do it. Now, we thinking about even more. I got to think about even more stuff on the fly. If you went in with Jalen Wesker and Barry was nowhere to be found, but you end up running into and Barry was nowhere to be found. Hmm. This is going to be interesting. I'm trying to think of how they can, if we bringing back the Zappa system theoretically, how could we incorporate more B side gameplay with Jill? So we would have to change it. We would have to remove Jill from the equation and put Barry in there, or remove Wesker from there and it's Barry and Jill. Remove Wesker from there. It's Barry and Jill. So the three of y'all making it, and it was like Wesker, where'd Wesker go? But a lot of us who already played the game and know the history already know that Barry, um, we already know that Wesker, uh, well, of course, is off probably doing nefarious shit, but somehow when they all like, okay, we're in here. What was that noise? He was like, Crystal, I'm gonna go check it out. And Jill was like, I'm gonna go check upstairs for something. And Barry, um, was like, so and so, he's gonna go off and do his thing, or so. Or maybe Jill and Chris go check out the gunfire together, and when they get back, it's Barry that's gone. And you're wondering why Barry's been kind of distant in Jill's campaign modes because somewhere in his gameplay mode, in that mode, Wesker got to him because he stumbled upon Wesker doing something and called him out for it, but Wesker threatened his family right there on the spot. Does that sound crazy? Yes. Or maybe Barry, or even Barry going through a different part of the that. Maybe that because that would work too. But I'm thinking if they change it and Wesker gets separated in Chris's campaign mode, and it's Chris, Barry, and Jill that make it in, and all of a sudden you still get separated because you hear gunfire, and it's like, and imagine it's Chris and Jill clearing, coming in the hallway. You know, like you seen that. Um, they doing that, and they clearing the door and stuff like that because I think it's somewhat of the same way. But maybe we should keep Barry because Barry and Jill did that when Barry found the blood on the ground and you went into the place and you saw the zombie eating Kenneth. Yep, separating Wesker. Okay. I like separating Wesker. It sounds like it's more a surprise when he's alive. Well, it's a surprise to the characters, but we know what Wesker's up to, so we like but we're still interested. We like how it's going to play out. How are we gonna actually play? Like, how is this gonna take place? How's this? What like? How they gonna introduce? How they gonna introduce it to us? How they gonna surprise us? See, they have a lot of potential to go with this. They do. They do, and I want them to make good on that. And I wanted that all four of them make it out of that mansion and get rescued by Brad, which means there's going to have to be a showdown on the helipad with all four characters. And Tyrant, how Tyrant's movement and gameplay is going to be different from it was before, how it was before. That's what I'm thinking about. Because if we're getting unique zombies, what about those zombies on the lower level that were all naked? Were those cadavers brought back by the T virus? More than likely they were. So I could see multiple versions of them. But I think they said when zombies looking different, it's going to be those in the upper level of the on the on the ground level of the mansion. I think those people will look different. I can understand that, and it's going to take more bullets. So now to conserve your ammo, you have to definitely avoid the living dead. And a lot of people like will say, well, maybe they're just doing that to make the game more difficult. Yeah, that's the case. More scary, make more survival horror. But also think about this: the people in the upper part of the mansion more than likely were newly turned zombies. So think of Brad Vickers and RE. Think of Brad Vickers in RE3 remake and how strong he was. He was freshly turned. He was still capable of saying a word sorry, which threw um which threw what's his name off. It distracted him and allowed him to get bitten. What's the Marvin? It allowed Marvin to be bitten because he was like, not you, and he shot him in the legs. He was like, I'm sorry, man. He was like, sorry. He was like, he when Marvin said that, that just made him drop his guard, and that's why he ended up getting bitten. So there's a lot of things they can fix with this, like for sure. So I can understand why the zombies would be a little bit tougher. Not just it's just a scarier game, and you want to make it scarier. Have some lore in there that it makes sense. So if the Crimson Heads are staying in there, oh man, this game is gonna be crazy. If this game is a reality and is actually coming out in 2 years, this game gonna be crazy. But right now, I think they're actually really focusing on Resident Evil 9, which also has been a rumor as well. Um, Now, recent rumors are saying that Resident Evil 9 will allegedly star Leon. And I'm thinking, why? No offense, Leon's my favorite RE character, protagonist. Him and Jill are my two favorite. Um, my thing is, the way Resident Evil ended, Village ended, they should go straight into the next game on that one because Chris said someone has to pay. when he found out that the BSAA was using bioweapons as soldiers. Pretty much clone. It looked like a clone of him. They was using that. They was using BOWs as weapons. Let me see. RE9 News. Check it to that. It was still haven't played 7 on Village. 7? You know how I felt about 7. You've been a fan of my channel for a long time. You know how I felt about 7. But I do admit that the action, the events of 8 made 7 a lot, gave 7 a lot more purpose. So this is what 2 weeks ago. Let's see something. This is what Rapid Crafter, who's another good person. Yeah, you said you remember. You remember, right? So let's go to here. Now, this is Rapid Crafter. You know, this is suppose this is all going off of speculation, but I just like how he delivers his videos. Fair use, everyone. Fair use. This is a reaction. This is not me stealing on Rapid Crafter. As you can see, his name is here to be shown that this is his content, not mine. Fair use. Remember, I just showed you that they was using bioweapons in the village. This is it right there when they discovered, because you know Chris no longer works with the BSAA. He don't. He has but they discovered that when the BSAA brought in soldiers, it was bioweapons, and this is what Chris discovered. But don't get me started on Village. You thought I was pissed about the story of 7? Yo, Chris and Mia is a special place in hell for them. Because everything that happened to Ethan is technically their damn fault. It's technically their fault. I do that. Okay, I'll leave a like. This was 4 months ago. This was 4 months ago, just to keep y'all in context. Like, yeah. See, in case you didn't know, she was in a cell somewhere, but Mother Miranda is a shapeshifter. She captured Mia quite some time ago and replaced her. That's why Chris came in and shot Mia to death. That was Mother Miranda, and he knew. But this motherfucker would not tell Ethan. And Mia knew the whole time that Ethan is mold. Ethan died in Resident Evil 7 when the the Baker with Jack Baker stomped his head in. But he was infected and the mold brought him back. He's unique. So him and Mia had he had a child with Mia and gave that child powers because of his he's a unique specimen with mold. He has a resist. Why do you think he was able to put his hand back on? I knew he was infected when I did videos. If you could go back a couple years ago, you could tell me that I said Ethan's clearly infected and he can regenerate. He can reattach limbs. It's clearly obvious that he's infected. We all knew that, but why was he only looking for a cure for Mia and Zoe Baker, and he wasn't worried about his fucking self? Like the story made no sense to me. Like you could put your leg back on and stuff, but you don't think you need to be cured of anything? Okay, whatever. So, like I said, to bring you back currently, what happened is that Chris took Ethan and Mia, moved them to Europe near Mother Miranda just to bring out he used the Winters family as bait He used them as bait. He used the Winters family as bait and got Ethan killed. And then Mia knew the whole time that Ethan was mold now and never fucking told him. And you wonder why I'm mad at the storyline. Like when it came to Resident Evil 7 and 8, the storyline just made yo. And people were like, oh, Chris. I was like, no, Chris is a fucking asshole. He's a fucking asshole for doing that. That there's a part in the game where Ethan and Village, they thought Ethan died because Mother Miranda tore his heart out. She ripped out Ethan's heart, and he came back from that. And he was in the the metamucite has a hive mind. Everybody that's part of it can still your consciousness gets uploaded to it pretty much. And he was talking with what's the girl name? The little girl from RE7, the clone. What's her name? Evie, whatever. And Evie, and Evie was like, "You're dead. You've been dead. You died this point in part 7." She was saying pretty much. That's how he's able to come back. But now, without his heart, once he defeated Mother Miranda, he started to fall apart, and he saved Baby Rose. They pulled Baby Rose apart, and she was able to come back together and stuff. And now Rose is Shadows of Rose is years later. She's a teenager. She's 16, but she has all these abilities and powers, and it gets crazy. It's crazy. They said that the baby willingly did that. I don't understand this shit. I don't understand it at all. This is where they lose me. They lost me a long time ago. But I get the gist of the story, but they lost me with the lack of sense making with it. So now Ethan realized he was decaying finally. I think without his heart, he was barely hanging on together. And after he defeated Mother Miranda, that weakened the Metamucite or whatever they call it, the Megamucite, whatever they fucking call it. Anyway, that weakened his body, and he was falling apart. So he gave Baby Rose to Chris and was like, "I'll stay behind and blow it up." And he stayed behind and sacrificed himself. And I'm saying with Village, all of this could have been avoided if Chris fucking told the truth. If he didn't move the Winters to Romania, where he knew that Mother Miranda was nearby. He used them to draw her out, and now Ethan is dead, and now he had to raise Rose because Mia couldn't even bring herself to be close to Rose after Ethan died. But Chris is a hero. So let's get back into this video. Let's see what they were saying months ago. Cause now there's more talks of this was 4 months ago, but now there's more recent talks of Leon being the protagonist. That is true. That is true. And I said that about Chris a long time ago when we saw Resident Evil Vendetta and Leon just lost his entire squad because an informant ratted him out and got his whole entire squad killed, and he was on vacation just trying to just drink and just forget about his job that he has to go back to, a job that he was forced into, but he's exceptionally good at it. So Chris comes there. You gotta see it. You'll see it. Like you saw it. He came there with Rebecca bossing Leon around, and I'm like, y'all really think like you understand why I fucks with Leon as a character versus Chris? It's how, yeah, the writing's right there. Chris became so enthralled with the battle against bioterrorism, he believes that some people are a necessary sacrifice. His actions speak. His actions speak for it. His actions alone speak for it. Look what he did to the Winters family. But I digress. Let's move on. Yeah, remember the Boulder Punch? Boulder Punch. And I like that they meant that one of the villains mentioned that. He like, that's Redfield? You boulder punching son of a bitch, or you boulder punching asshole or something he called him. I was like, yeah. Capcom realized that people was making fun of the boulder punch. It is. Exactly. Yep. We we just was talking about that a couple minutes ago. And those things look like a clone of him. Oh, this is from Death Island. I liked how they actually gave Jill her RE3 remake costume. And people like, why she still looks so young? Because of the effects of the T virus and what Wesker did to her. I, he has a point there. And she was still a secondary character. We need something with her to be like a main character, or so one of the main characters. You're gonna probably say first person. Well, just say basically that because it's 7, 8, 9 is a trilogy. You don't have to hide it. 7, 8, and 9 basically are a trilogy. Even though the Winters they called 7 and 8 the Winter Saga or something, the Winters Saga or so, but they pretty much connected. But that they had, yeah, the only one that I think that was missing that's alive is Barry. You had Rebecca, you had Claire, you had Chris, you had Jill and Leon. And I really like the dynamic between Jill and on Leon. Look at this that pop up. Hold on a second. Right here. Some they even doing that. Yeah. Speaking of characters that you've forgotten about, I want to talk about that too. Billy Cohen, Sheva Alomar, uh, a lot of the people from Revelations. Revelations 2, Moira. That's Barry's daughter. Things of that nature. Like, where are they? Bringing people, hell, bringing people from the generation. The character that Laura Bailey did the voice for, and she not only played Helena. Oh yeah, Helena in RE6. Where she's at? Okay, and the same voice actress did she did the voice of Curtis Miller's sister and Angela, I believe Angela, and Resident Evil Generation CGI movie. Like, where all these? Where, like, come on now. Don't even think of taking Sheva out of the game. And speaking of that, somebody proposed if the Resident Evil 1 remake was a reality, the re-remake is actual reality, won't they do like a DLC based on the events of Zero? That's another thing they really need to do. They really need to make Rebecca, they need to write Rebecca correctly. If she survived the events of RE0 and went into that mansion, she should be she should be badass. She shouldn't be a damsel in distress at all. They really need to fix that. I'm glad Rebecca came to my mind. You brought it to my mind, Reva, when you said that had most of the main characters. And they're talking about Death Allen, and Rebecca is one of them. So that should definitely be the case. This Rebecca better not be. Oh no! I'm like, you just survived. You just survived RE0. You just defeated the Leech Queen with fucking Billy Cohen, and that's another thing. They need to at least present some sort of DLC with Zero, and you can make that more action based because it is. I know it got exploration in it, but it can at least be a little bit fast. It could be faster paced than this proposed remake of RE1. All right, let's continue on. Yeah, you would think they would have. This is if they don't fix it now, if this game is a reality and they don't fix it now, I don't know what to say. Let just come on, Capcom. You already not listening to people when they said they wanted a Code Veronica remake. You're not listening to them. They probably gonna wait, save that because they know people are waiting for that. But they probably thinking, oh, it's not the most popular Resident Evil. Why are we in a rush to do that? Okay, you remember last time when you didn't listen to your fans. All right, continuing. Mm-hmm. Now, I was happy being chased around by a voluptuous 8 foot something woman with a claw for a hand. You know, some of you male fans are cringe worthy, bro. When it comes to female characters, that cringe worthy shit y'all was doing with Lady Dimitrescu was stop it. Y'all the same people who doing the same shit with Stellar Blade, and y'all got upset because y'all don't because the costumes were censored. Come on, man, are you serious? And you wonder why they make fun of gamers, of hardcore gamers. Because a lot of you act like y'all have never went onto the browser of your phone and watched Pornhub. You don't need to see video game titties so much. Like, stop it. You said I wonder what Capcom revisiting all the old R events if we finally get a game where Chris and Jill take out Umbrella. Oh yeah, they did that in a gun game that nobody barely played. They did that in a gun game. Um, one of the that gun game that came out for GameCube or Wii or whatever. Um, they did that in that, and nobody really paid attention. Like Operation Javier with Leon and Krauser, that happened in the Dark Side Chronicles, and this I think this happened in the game, the first one before Dark Side Chronicles. It was the Umbrella Chronicles, I believe. It happened in that when they supposedly took down Umbrella, but most gamers wouldn't even know that, or you know, because they didn't play those games. They just thought they was some stupid gun game, but they actually were like basically telling a more streamlined version of actual lore that actually happened in Resident Evil story. So, yeah. Oh God, no! Please, no, no, no. We already got the Silent Hill 2 over the shoulder remake that's coming out now. I mean, Silent was it Silent Hill 2? Yeah, they already remaking that, and people already downvoted the shit out of it. I'm sick as hell my damn self, so I ain't even gonna fault him on keeping that in the video. Oh shit! You know where they going with this one? It's gonna be RE6. Well, it's gonna have multiple characters. If it's ambitious, it's not going to be at just one protagonist. We already know that. Get out of here. No, whoa. Hold up. Whoa, hold on. Really? 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 It kind of makes sense because I've heard from multiple places that RE Village was actually a Revelations game in the Revelation series. It started out as part 8, and then it became a Revelations game. Then it went back to being a part 8. So they like shifting games around and mixing them. They do a Revelations, a game that's more like a side story, but then somehow swap it out and make it a main story one. They did it with the original RE3 game. RE3 game was Biohazard Last Escape, and it starred a Umbrella Soldier, but they remixed it and put Jill in it, and to satisfy Sony, because Sony was upset that Resident Evil 3, which we now know as Code Veronica, was going to Dreamcast. They were like, no, it belongs on PlayStation. PlayStation is where Resident Evil was born on, basically. And so Capcom was like, okay, we make this side game Resident Evil 3, and we'll make that game a side story. Which it's not a side story. It's actual. It's it's just not a numerical sequel, but it's a necessity game. But the it took away the thunder of Code Veronica being a numbered sequel, which I think would have helped it. They started propagating the fact that it was a side game when it was actually canon and is canon. But they did that to Sony did that basically to make sure that they have a monopoly on them Resident Evil franchise. Yep. See, wait till you find out there's a period of time where it was RE2, RE3, RE8, Outrage, RE4, RE9. Some of these games get switched around. And this guy here, when he starts to drop info on it, that means that it's pretty much reality. Some details might alter, but this is who I was talking about, Dust Golem, earlier when I started the stream. Wow. Okay. No, it's cool. It's cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. That DLC, that was RE Village DLC that played in a complete different camera and third person. Let's go back to that for a second. I want you to see something. See, this is Shadows of Rose right there. That's Shadows of Rose right there. And this is it right here, Shadows of Rose. That's her. That's Rose right there. She's inside of the mold, like the consciousness of the mold. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. They don't do their supporting characters right. They make a character like Rose has powers, and for her to just be pushed aside, probably to be never heard from again, is ridiculous. Billy Cohen went through a lot of shit with Rebecca, and he's still out there, even though he was framed by the U.S. Army. Shit, if I was Rebecca, I would be like, hey Leon, I would like Leon, I know, Billy Cohen, this, and the fourth. He been through the situation. Is there anything you can do to help him get his name, you know, to get this expunged off his record, and explain the story to him? And he could have used his influence with the DSO to bring to get some justice for Billy and bring Billy into the fold as a main character again because he ain't got to hide no more. The man's capable enough, right? They could have did that, but no, she just took his dog tags and said you're officially dead, and he done went off and hid somewhere, right? Never saw him again. Um, we got to see Barry in Revelations too. Good. I'm glad. Finally, to play as a main playable character in the campaign mode. Good. Okay. How long it took them to bring Rebecca back? We didn't see Rebecca back, and she's still not back in the game. She's back in the CGI movies. She was in the last two ones that came out. That's good. That's great. But who else? We seen Sherry in RE6. All right. Where's Sherry at right now? Sherry's an agent. Where's she at right now? Nowhere to be found. Wesker's son. Oh, do they got plans for him and they got plans for Wesker and Birkin's kids. We don't know that. Nothing. Carlos, definitely. I was about to get to him. This man went through, he survived Raccoon City with Jill. They flew out of that damn place together. And if you got the right ending, you got Barry, which he should have been in a fucking remake. He should have been there. All right? They should have. They dropped the ball ultimately with that. He should have been there. A lot of these characters, Sheva Alomar, where is she? Hell, I would like to see Ashley now, especially if it's based on the RE4 remake Ashley, because RE4 remake Ashley is far better character than the old Ashley. Yeah, yeah, they had perfect opportunity, and they just fumbled it. They really did. They really did. So Sheva Alomar, uh, who I said earlier, what's her name? The one that Leon was partnered up with, Helena. Where's Helena at? Hmm? Helena was forced to betray the government by what's the guy name? Simmons. And she was her and Leon was set up by him and stuff. Where she's at? Hmm? Like I said earlier, the characters from the female from Degeneration. Where is she? Nowhere to be found. And then somebody was trying to bring up this whole, more people. It's Steve. Steve dead. He dead. He dead. He dead. Um, and then people was trying to actually get on this whole thing about if you heard recently about Assassin's Creed with Shadows, them using Yasuke, they forgot all about the Japanese assassin that's in the game. Or they focus on, oh god, we see a black person, we gotta go into the Wikipedia account and we gotta diminish him and make him look like he's nothing and that he doesn't deserve to be a character in a video game. Look, black people didn't ask for Yasuke to be in the game. We didn't ask for it, but we had recently somebody that, like I said in my last live stream, and I even showed it, and I may have upset him. Don't matter to me. My thing is, you're not going to insult black people in general because you upset about something. You think I'm gonna let you sit there and insult black people? I'm not even advocating for Yasuke in the game because I don't care for Assassin's Creed. But when you start generalizing and you start insulting black people as a race, and then you think it's cute, I'm gonna have to stand up for myself and my people. I do. I just have to. It's no way of getting around it. You can't just sit there and just generalize and then you start using DEI. We know when you use DEI the way you use it, you're pretty much trying to say the N word without saying the N word. Get out of my face with that. And I know some of these people do it for clicks, but you got to understand, even if they do it for clicks, even if they're doing it for clicks and views, the problem is when I see you out in public, people see you out in public, that's the image you have to go by for the rest of your YouTube career. That's the image you willing to sell yourself up the river as a fucking racist for clicks and views. Some people I just think are staunchly, and then you call them low IQ dipshits. You're talking about black people here. What the fuck are you saying? I'm supposed to be happy with that? Like I said in my last live stream, I am not that one. I am not the one. You're not. Just because I am a so-called one of the good ones, what the fuck does that mean? I'm a I'm a decent human being, y'all. A lot of black people, a lot of us are good human beings, but y'all like to go on the internet and look at all the degenerates who like to post themselves on the internet and doing whole shit, gangster shit, criminal shit. Y'all like to y'all like to look at them and think that's us in general. And last time I checked, I don't speak French either. So who is we? Shout out to Kid Gravity. Who is we? So you actually thought I was gonna be complacent with you talking trash about black people, and just because I am not in that demographic that you have a problem with, you really thought that I was gonna sit there and let it slide. I am not one of those raccoons that just be like, yeah, I gotta lick your boot. I'm licking your boot. That's right. I'm one of the good ones. Yes, sir, boss. I am not one of those fucking people. I'm not one of those people. Don't play with me like that. You think I'm gonna sit there and let you insult my race of people and not have anything to say about it? It's just not gonna happen. I'm not. But I'm about to bring this stream to an end in a moment. But I just want to show one last thing. Look at this. You heard about this story? This is new to me. Listen to this shit. He murdered her in cold blood. He beat her to death. Yeah, but we're the degenerates. We're the criminals. We're the madmen, right? And then they always want to bring up per capita. And unfortunately, palm colored people aren't the only people in on this kind of talk. When other minority groups are getting in on this talk, I'm looking at you, Fratanga. I'm looking at you, Fratanga. Yeah, you. You want to talk all this DI and you want to bring up per capita on a live stream like I wasn't paying attention? You're Hispanic, bro, but you know what? You see the problem? Those who live, those who throw stones should not live in glass houses. All right, so since they don't carry the death penalty, they giving him a lighter sentence of 20 years. The fuck out of here, man. Oh God, please, is it a Japanese dude? Okay. Anyway, sorry. Oh no, no. Are they really saying he hit his head and he had altered mental status would lead led him to beating this black woman to death? Is this what they going with? Please tell me they're not going with this. Oh no, I'm reading this. All right, man. Have a good day. Bruh. I'm. What? Look at this. Read this, y'all. Jeez. Read this. She just told him, you can't be in this building. But they're saying that he had brain damage or he had a TBI. That's the defense they're going with this. That's what they went with. That he was drunk and had a TBI. Please spare me. And they got him on camera doing this. Seriously, they got him on camera doing this. And he's not deserving of life in prison. Must be nice. Must be fucking nice. No, no, no. You know what? I can't anymore. I can't anymore with this. I can't. I can't listen to no more of this. I don't, yo, let me go prepare for Torian Rain's live stream and to join in and watch that. I went about the time I wanted to went a little bit beyond that, but this right here, this shit break my fucking heart, yo. I did this my first time today. Hour ago was my first time hearing about this, and I was watching this in real time just now. Yo, this shit. You're joking, right? He did all of that to her, right? Real quick before I finish, let me go into the comment section. Let me go into the comment section of this and see what's going on. See, I told you they were going with the head injury debate. They was trying to go with that. And then look what somebody said. They paid shills. Man, fuck you. Yep, if the roles were reversed, it would have been a death sentence. They would have made one happen. Right here. This right here. This right here. Y'all need to see this right here is the problem. And then when we bring that up, oh, y'all being victims. Y'all like playing victims. Fuck out of here. Until the punishment fits the crime, I don't want to hear shit. Y'all always play this mental health aspect. Y'all always play this shit. Fuck, I don't want to hear that. Wow. Look at this. Listen to this. When has a white man ever been put to death for killing a black man or woman? When? My husband just got out of prison in 2020 after doing 12 years for a milligram of cocaine. Yes, a milligram. My sister in law got out of prison in March of this year after doing 20 years in prison for stealing liquor out of Walgreens. I'm thinking this is kind of doctored, but I went, my uncle did a long time for doing the three strikes. Why Tory Lanez gets 10 years in prison? Nah, I don't know. All this stuff, this is, this is a bot. This is a bot. Fuck out of here. I ain't falling for that shit. It's a bot. You know, brain injury caused this. A lot of people say that this man got off for murder. 20 years is getting off for murder, basically. Well, oh, shut up, man. We didn't make up the expression. It's stuck. Why do you people with brown skin keep calling yourselves black? That's your problem. Oh, son of a bitch. Uh, somebody said, why do you people with pink skin keep calling yourselves white? Yeah. Uh, Oh my God. Look at this. We're the spin doctors that usually attend the comment section. I can guarantee they're looking for ways to put blame on black women. Sick fucks. I can't wait for that day I get tried that way. I've been waiting 30 plus years for something and it never happens. Because those pussycats can only attack women, children, elderly, and sons. Huh, man. This man was drinking. I hold those witnesses accountable. Fuck out of here. No. Why didn't those bystanders intervene? Because everybody got their camera out. Or people don't care. If a lot of the bystanders are of a different race, they don't fucking care most of the time. And he's going to be. And look, this brother said he used his military training to assault her pretty much, and he's going to be in protective custody. The fuck he shouldn't be. A plea deal. But he ran from a fight with men to end up attacking a woman like a coward. Yep, a lot of people. Well, at least I know most of the comment sections on code with that. Most of them on code with this being injustice. Most of them are cold with that. But like I said, I'm gonna land my plane here. This was a Sunday random for the books. Talked about Resident Evil. Talked about a little bit of Assassin's Creed and how I'm gonna. You can look. You're not gonna insult my people and just think you can get away with it and just think it's all okay. We know your code speak. We know that. We know what you mean when you excessively throw around DEI. Y'all want to say the N word so much, but a lot of you cowards and cannot bring yourselves to say it. And in this situation right here, you see this? You just see how people get away with this, but there's no hate crime bill on the books for black people. But stop being such a victim. Fuck out of here. I bet any amount of money if there was consequences for black death, senseless black death, a lot of people would think twice before they pull that trigger. But I digress. Anyway, it's been your boy Fury. I'm good, y'all. I'm out. Peace.